Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, D-Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab where I do what I do for you. Look what I'm doing today. Look who I found. Yeah, we about to have some fun. Good stuff. All right, let's do it. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in the story for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in and receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate all individuals to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. See what I'm doing with this? Let's get there together. So I ask you, do you know you? It's a rhetorical question, but if you have an answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. A person who knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not. It's simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know spiritually sleep. I can awaken them. I'm a spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know thyself. And to my eye, be true. I've been in my crates. So right thinkers, let's talk about, I'm trying to get you where you want to be. Gain knowledge of self. So let's talk about how mystical myths and metaphors are the tools for enlightenment and to gain wisdom through experience. So let me break it down for you because I'm going to get some definition from Funk and Wagner on myths. A lot of people misunderstand or misconstrue myths, so we're going to break that down for you. It's a tool to teach what seemed to be the unteachable for you to understand. So right now, we're in the book called The Mysteries of Isis. Okay, she was the bad girl, and this book got a whole bunch of information, so I might be here for a minute because I've been looking through it. I got some good stuff that's in here, so I'm going to bring it to your attention. All right, let's go. In her book is The Path of Wisdom to Immortality and Enlightenment. So with her, it's all about knowledge. Okay. In ancient Egyptian spirituality, the teachings of the goddess is closely related to what we call myths. And there are two specific myths in which the goddess Aset is especially highlighted. Oh, she did her thing. All right. Now, these myths must be understood before the mystical, psychological understanding by the teachings may be understood. Don't misconstrue, misunderstand what being taught to you. If you don't understand it, ask before you get the wrong impression, the wrong concept, okay? So in order to begin your journey of what? Self-discovery. Life. Your goal is to find or know thyself before you pass on. Why? If not, you can come back and repeat yourself. We need to know the origins of what? The mystical wisdom. Okay? Knowledge of God. Having what? The experience for yourself, aka the blessings. It comes from the glorious myths of the goddess. These contain, again, profound mystical teachings so that you can express them and live them and get the benefits of them for those who know how to what? Decode and understand and interpret the myth and their mythological purpose. What? To enlighten you, to get you to know you through stories, allegorical. How about this? The in Haru gave you what? Basic instructions before leaving Earth. Sound familiar? We called it the book of coming forth by day. Y'all call it the Bible. And it's the same concept. Let's understand that. I'm not here to rag on it, but it's the same concept philosophically, but it's so misinterpreted by so many people, it don't work. Moving on. Collectively. A few people who understand it, get it, yeah, but a bunch of them who don't, make it look bad for the few who do. So that's the concept. And they are what? In these life, and I'll call them life lessons because I'm giving them now. But there are, in these life lessons, there are important keys to reading and understand the mythology. Storytelling. Back when I was coming up, folklore. You sat around and you listen to the man tell a story. They gave fairy tales, nursery rhymes, all this to educate you. We could sing the songs and then half of us know what it meant. Okay, but it was supposed to be teaching lessons. What is myths? Okay, I got the American Heritage Dictionary defines myth. I got the American Heritage Dictionary defines mythology, and I got the Random House Encyclopedia, which defines mythology. These are all people who have their versions and their concepts. So let's go over right quick. So you see how many people still have different versions and concepts of the same thing. First, we must begin by gaining an understanding of what mythology is. Again, then to understand it, purpose. There's a purpose for the storytelling to get you to understand something. And with this understanding and the implementation of it, we may then undertake the study of the Osirian myth. I call it the myth of life because it's going to teach you everything about your life or any other mystical story and be able to, first of all, understand what the spiritual implications. Again, everything is for you to learn. Implications which are being imparted through the myth, the story, the allegory. Never literally. Nobody has literal information. Everything is literature, talked about, written, broke down into allegorical stories, mythological stories, zodiac astrological, but it's not literal. Please understand it. And the Greeks were smart. They told you Greek mythology, so they don't have to deal with it. Nobody questions that. That's why they know it's mythology. Moving on, quick lesson. I'm trying to get you to understand. Now let's talk about the American Heritage Dictionary defines myth as follows: a traditional story presenting supernatural beings, aka gods, or we learn them as ancestors or heroes, okay, serve as a primordial types in what the primitive view of the world. Everything is in the beginning. Everything. Why? Nobody knows. You got to theoretically put it together. Mythologically explain it. Mythologically explain it. That's where the Bible comes in. That's when the Bible tells everything. It didn't create it though. It spins off from Persian Haru, the first oldest religious book in history. The American Heritage. Okay, see, still the second one. The first one was that. The second definition is, what is this? Here you go. A fictitious or imaginary story, person, or thing. Meaning it ain't real. Okay, theology ain't real. It's just concept. So calm down. Yeah, you trying to defend mythology? No, it ain't about that. I'm just trying to get a lesson. Hopefully you get the concept. I'm gonna see if I'm trying to back and forth, but that's what them all mind. But last one, a false story. The Bible. The Bible. False story. Had to get that out. Now let's talk about the American Heritage Dictionary defines mythology as follows. Okay, that was the American Heritage definition of myths. Now we're going to talk about their definition of mythology. A body of myth, meaning allegorical stories about the origin and history of people. This is a lesson. I'm just teaching. I'm going to sit here and rap at the fool. Okay, sorry. But now it says a study of myth. Yes, mythology, the study of myths. Now let's talk about the Random House. Calm down. The Random House Encyclopedia defines mythology as follows. Okay, we done heard the American heritage. Now we're going to the random house. Let's go. Mythology is a body of myth again, or again, traditional stories, and they're dealing with gods and legendary heroes. We can take the time, give it a lesson. The mythology of people serves, listen, to present their world view, concept, theology, but not literally. Their explanations of nature, natural phenomena. Okay, their religious and others, their religious and others beliefs. Again, mythological literature. Again, I told you, what includes what the Greeks. There was the founders of it, they called it mythology so they can tell the story any way they want to make their lessons. And I ain't got a problem with that. I learned that first. So when I came to Egypt, I'm like, I know all of this. They just didn't tell me where they got it from. I'm still upset about that. But they got the books called the Iliad and the Odyssey. They freaking out. Really? Moving on. And then you got the Scandinavian, they got the called Edda, Edda. Then you got the Indians, the Ramayana, okay? And the Babylonians, you got the Gilgamesh, the Epic of Gilgamesh. Every culture, every group of people have their cultural, philosophical, mythological, allegorical belief system. It's called religion, and that's why I understand it and the purpose of it. So that's what it is. And they're all based on what? Mythology. And you got various interpretations of mythology and have been made by anthropologists such as Sir James Frazer and Claude Levi-Strauss, the Gene Man. In literature, again, in literature, myths have been used as the basis for your poetry stories, your plays and theaters, and other writings. Again, literature means somebody's expressing himself through what? A story, usually a myth or allegory. Some astrological. Moving on. But now in relation to mythology, the term epic. Here we go. I'm waiting to get to this one. Now, epic is also used. The American Heritage Dictionary defines epic as what? A long narrative or poem that celebrates what? Episodes of what? Of people's who? Heroic traditions. Everybody got a hero. You should be your hero means the hero in you. How about that? That's been I forgot that whole concept, but yeah. You are Haru. You're your own hero. Ain't nobody gonna come and save you. You got to save you. That's hence the hero in you. It's in you to do just that. So now to go with Funk and Wagner. They got the definition in encyclopedia and their definition of epic. Got a nice little long thing here. Let's go. A long narrative poem, same as before, both in theme and style. Again, same thing. But now epics deal with what? Legendary, historical, that's supposed to have happened. Okay, there's the difference between a mythology story and a historical story. Why the historical story is supposed to actually happen. That's why. And you weave them in together, you have to have discernment and understanding to know which is which. So watch this. They got legendary or historical events of what? A national or universal significance involving what? Action of what? Of broad sweep and grandeur. Gilgamesh, he can beat everybody, all that. Nah, okay. Hercules, everybody got heroes. It's okay. But most epics deal with what? The exploits of a single, supposedly lived human being individual, and thereby giving unity to what? To the composition. Typically, an epic involves the introduction of what? Supernatural forces. He was this big, he was that strong, might force of 20 men. And the shape and the action. Super action heroes. The hero got to be better than everybody else. Clark Kent, mob man reporter for a Great Metropolitan newspaper, all that good stuff. Yeah, and they got to hide their true identity. Okay, why the heroes who got the power, they got to hide them, and then they got the mutants who got the power, they try to control them. So it's all crazy. They just got this thing all going to haywire. But it's always good against evil. It's always. If everything was good, we would have evil. If everything was evil, we wouldn't have no good. That's why we got my girl. She keeps everything in order. All right, let's go. As long as you're going the opposites, we'll keep going. Why? Because one going to go in, one go out, one going to go out, one going to go in. That's infinity. All right, here we go. Typically, an epic involved into the, yeah. Okay, yeah. Now, styled conventions, where we at? Okay, stop down here. The shape of action. You got conflict in the form of what? Battles, good and evil, or other physical combats, and certain stylistic conventions. Night, day, good, evil. Saying it ain't going nowhere. It started that when I told you when Ra came out of the noon, which was chaotic, bunch of possibilities, potential, but there was no what? Order. In comes my girl. Now we have order. That's the code. That's the concept. That's why I respect who she and what she is, what she represents. Now you got what? An invocation to what? A muse. Something that makes somebody do something. A formal statement of the theme. You got long lists of what? Protagonists involved and set speeches coached, couched in what? In elated languages. Everybody spoke different language pretty much, so we overhit it. Like right now, I don't speak Spanish. Ain't trying to speak Spanish. Why? For what? Moving on. I'm speaking one language, English. Commonplace details or what? Everyday life may appear, but they serve only as a background for what? The story, the backdrop of the story, and are described in the same lofty style as the rest of the poem. Again, they telling you the story. Hope you can understand it and get the concept. I'm trying to give you information. Hope you can understand it, implement it, and use it. Same thing. Cycle goes around. But now these definitions have been included here to what? Give you a reference. Again, as to what society at large, generally, especially in the Western civilization hemisphere, has accepted as the definitions and purpose of mythological and epic literature. Bam. Now we will explore what yogic, mystical meanings of mythology. First, however, one more definition is required. What's that? We need to understand what is a metaphor. Another one, okay? Oh, a metaphor? No. The American Heritage Dictionary defines metaphor. If you're going to make up what you think is the definition, why have a definition? Know the definition, you got to make one up. Sorry. The definition of a metaphor, a figure of speech in which a term that ordinarily designates an object or an idea is used to now designate a dissimilar object or idea in order to suggest what? The comparison or analogy as the phrase evening of life. Pretty much, evening, the end. Life, okay? End of life, evening of life, okay? But that's what metaphors are. Let me get back to the lesson. Sorry about that. I ain't got time for giving lessons. I'm teaching right now. Now, mystical, there we go. Mystical mythology is much like a metaphor in that its stories, again, it's all about telling stories, and the characters are designed to provide what? A reference towards something or other than the story itself. This means that all the characters in the stories are personalities that's within you. This means that there is an exoteric, meaning a top level, meaning which refers to the events and the circumstances in the story. That's the storyline. You go along. But which may or may not have a basis in fact. Don't have to be true. Don't have to be nothing, but just follow along. And also, now there's a what? Esoteric. That's what right thinking philosophy teaches. I teach you the hidden meaning of things, the esoteric. Everybody telling you that. I'm telling you what it means. Hopefully you get the concept and understand it and the information that you can use for yourself. That's why. And you have your mystical meaning, which is what? Which refers to a deeper teaching or message which transcends what? The ordinary boundaries of said event. In the story, my favorite story when I was doing the Greek mythology was Icarus. When his father told him they was locked up in the thing, they used bird feathers to make the wings. When he got out, got everything situated, Pop gave him, this is a follow instructions. My lesson with that was, when Pop said, Icarus, don't fly too high, you get close to the sun, it'll melt the wax in the wings and, you fall to your death. But don't fly too low, you get close to the water, the moisture from the water will saturate the wings and you'll fall. Okay. What do us young men do? Want to show off. Look, doctor. I said, no, too late. Too late. And what happened? He didn't get a second chance. Party's over. So the moral of the story, again, the story, the teacher, the moral. Get the moral. Pay attention and follow the instructions. Sorry about that, but that was just my story I had to tell from the Greeks. I got that one from them. And it served me well in life. But now, through the myth, there you go, the many ideas and concepts which are not easily and always explained in rational or logical terms can be what? Freely explored and elucidated in your imagination, meaning you can create and make it in your mind what symbolic to make it work for you in colorful ways. That works for you. Put it in a position. I use that story all my life to keep me what? Focus, follow instructions. Simple. That's what you mean. Or that's what it means. Mystical myths are what? Are practically important. Particularly important. I know that didn't work. Are particularly important. Why? Because of their purpose. And it is to point to where the answers to the most important questions of every individual may be found. What is that? Everyone is searching for what answers to questions like, you ready? Who am I? I asked you before we get started. Do you know who you are? Okay, but the goal, who am I really? If you don't know thyself, return. Is this all that I am? What did Popeye tell you? Oh, excuse me, not Popeye. What did God tell Moses? I am that I am. Papa said the same thing when you get that spinach, We do what? Where do I come from? I know I come from. My mother's here, my father made me. I know that, so that ain't a question for me. But it's a question for a lot of people. And here's the important one. What is my purpose in life? I put it in the mix right there. Pin mark. If you born in this world, ignorant of who you are, your purpose, your goal, and your intention should be to what? Know thyself. Simple. Moving on. For me, that's the easy question to answer. Why? I answered that for myself. That's why. And through myths, again, the teachings of sages and saints can now take full flight within every individual. Why? Because as you teach, everybody take it different. Like God. God means something different to every individual. That's why. And it's always been that way. Now you're free of your what? Your mental ignorant constraints of what? Your normal literature writings. If you're not getting information that can help you, benefit you, and do, why are you reading it? Why are you wasting time on it? So therefore, myths, again, are an ideal way to what? Import spiritual truths. The myth, the story, the truth is when you manifest it, employ and know for yourself, which transcend the spiritual truth, knowledge of self, which transcends what? Ordinary human experience. Spiritual beings, what we call righteous people, good people, they live a little different. Yeah, the whole point. Excuse me. The essence of creation of man is therefore for each individual being is what? Transcendental. Meaning you God. You can change. You can transform to a higher level of consciousness within yourself. We all have that. Do we all use it? No, but we all have it. Sorry about that. It transcends life, transcends what? Knowledge of self transcends what the ordinary bounds of what? Mental perception and understanding. If you are spiritually ignorant, you're going to miss the boat. However, all human experiences occur in what? And through the mind. It's all mental. You have to go through it and think. Right thinking. I'm a thinker. Thanks to the Greeks, got me started. I ain't stopped yet. Okay, thinking. Therefore, the heart, of all human experiences, you ready? Be they pain or pleasure, well, we know there's joy and pain, same thing, is rooted where? In the mind, the psyche. Anything psychic is mental. That's the head. That's what God gave us so that we can recognize Him. What? The gift of life He gave us, that's here. To know who we are starts up here. So I see the clock. We wrap this up. And the purpose, understand this, the purpose of mythology is to bridge, again, the gap between what? The limited, the human ignorant mind to that which transcends all, to the enlightened mind. Thus, through mythology, it must be understood in the light of its psychological, mystical implication, meaning you're going to get knowledge, you're going to be enlightened. So here we will introduce a new term. You ready? Psychomythology. That means mind stories. Story to help you advance your mind. Let me give you one last one right here. The study of mystical stories is important. The Osirian myths, the Sabaka stone, all those are lessons to teach, okay? In order to gain insight into psychic mythology, what must be done, or psychological implication of mythology for the psycho-spiritual transformation. It starts up here in every individual, and which leads to what? The attainment of spiritual enlightenment. That's my goal. Enlightenment, what? Implies the attainment. You only can get enlightenment from studying, learning, and doing. Sorry about that. Get excited. I'm wrapping it up. But it can only be attained and expanded, which leads to attainment of spiritual enlightenment. And enlightenment implies the attainment of an expanded state of consciousness, termed as dilation, expansion of what? The heart. Now I call it, they call it what they want. I call it heart-mind coherence. When the mind and the heart sync up as one, that's harmony. That's maya. That's the balance in the psycho world. Why? It's mental. Psycho means to understand. Oh yes. So okay, psycho is the use here must be understood. Psycho must be understood as far more than just simply which refers to the mind. Psycho must be understood to mean everything that constitutes human consciousness in all of its stages. You know there's three of them. So therefore, psycho implies the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious, the three states, okay, working in the mind. Mythology refers to what? The codes, messages, ideas, or teachings, okay, directives, beliefs, etc. We give you information that you can implement and use. And watch this, it's almost home. The effect of the the effect of the psychic through your conscious, subconscious, and unconscious aspects of the mind of every individual, specifically who? Those effects which result in what? Psycho-spiritual transformation, aka enlightenment, nihas. That is transpersonal. Every individual had to do it for themselves. Like the caterpillar and the butterfly. Every caterpillar got turned into a butterfly on his or her own. Now, it's transpersonal or transcendental change where? In your personality of any individual who practices said concepts, which leads what? to the discovery of what? The transcendental reality of existence. I know thyself. I know God and I are one. I know that. I don't believe it. I don't think it. I know that through experience. That's the mystical experience that every individual for themselves can have, and then they will also know God. Moving on, wrap it up. A myth. This is the best part right here. I've been saving it. The myth should never be understood to be literal. For starting, this would be why. Okay, this would be like going to the theater, a movie, to see a fictional movie or reading a fantasy novel, knowing it's not real, and then what? Believing it's real. That's what all the Christians do. Yet, as a movie or a novel may be based on, again, real historical events and carry what? An important message, the plot, message in the story, which is being imparted through the medium of what? Actors playing roles, a plot, and so on. But mystical truths are not to be understood as being completely baseless, nor as having been put together purely for entertainment. No, for information and enlightenment. Myths are symbols which speak to people in what? A psycho-symbolic way. Is all meant to. This psychological language of myths can lead what? People to what? Understand and even experience the transcendental truths which cannot be easily expressed in words, but more importantly in action and in thought, and more importantly in deeds. That's what God recognizes you for, not your intention. It's the action. That's the lesson. Hope you enjoyed it. Bam. In the closing, right thinkers, may y'all let it be 100. Me, 100 minus a day. So I never know that my right thinkers, myth understanding, has passed away. I'll be right back. I got some more for ISIS.